Joe Adkins first, though. He joins us in Little Cedars Hot and Ready Hotline. We appreciate it when he does. Did you hear the Russell reaction? Did you hear that from Friday? Did you hear the post game?
Yeah, I heard it.
And how do you react to it? What's your reaction to it?
I don't have a reaction. I mean, Russell, but he doesn't like someone. You don't have to like a guy that does. I mean, that you see that all the time. It's just most guys won't say it, but
yeah, but
you know, as a journalist, you can write whatever you want, but there's always backlash because I don't know how basketball credible he is anyway. So,
well, wait a minute.
Russell, you probably don't care.
Wait a minute, though. That part aside, okay? That part aside. You
can't put that part aside because that's part of it.
Well, okay, all right. Well, is that the reason then that he is answering everyone's question with the same response? Because that's that's the part that I think other people object to. You can hate. Look, you can hate on a reporter if you want. That's cool. That's fine. But to do it with everyone, to act the same way to everyone, I think that's what people object to.
One person, he didn't like him.
I understand. So what? So what is the why is he answering every question with execution?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. We would have to ask him.
But are you all right with that?
I mean, it's to do with the media. I mean, a guy doesn't. I mean, he may, if he had the option, he may choose not to ever speak to media. So you have to take that into consideration. If you're going to make him talk and he doesn't want to talk to you, don't expect to get great answers because the guy next to him will give you great answers. That's not him.
I hear you. I fall, to be honest with you, I fall more on that side. I mean, they get talked to. They have to talk all the time, and not everyone, not all 15 players on a Thunder roster are going to be all cut from the same.
I guess my thing is, and Trammell said this in the deal. I think it was a blog post or whatever he wrote today. It gets tiring for media too, but the reason that media goes in to ask questions is so we can find out the answers, and we don't write about things that are, we don't write the wrong things or say the wrong things. For example, if Kevin Durant's not on the court late in the ball game and we don't go ask questions in the post game, Scott Brooks is going to be ripped for Kevin Durant not being on the court. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe he was hurt. Maybe there's something else going. That's why we go ask these questions to make these guys.
And they did ask. So what?
I guess what I'm saying is give them the answers. It gets tiring for us, too. Yeah. We don't want to go in and ask questions after every game.
He's under any obligation to have to do that.
Who, Westbrook?
Yeah.
Well, he's got to speak to the media.
That's
you have to be available.
And he did.
What you're saying is technically, yes, correct. He did fulfill his obligation. He came off as childish and disrespectful, not just to Trammell, but to everyone that heard that. To me, he came off that way.
What do you think, Joe?
Was he disrespect? I mean, I don't know. I mean, a guy that may not do anything may do a whole write-up about you, speaking negative about you, and then he comes in your face, and then I'm supposed to just talk to you? Like, come on, man. Russell is human. He's a human being. If I sat there and you read an article that you had no idea about me writing about you, Zach, and you read it and I showed up at your locker the next day with a camera in your face, how are you going to look at me?
Oh, I hear you. No, I hear you. I lean more your way than a lot of others, for sure.
So disrespectful. So is it the disrespectful is a reaction to the action of maybe the article being written. So who was disrespectful?
No, well,
look, that guy that came in with the foreign accent at the end that asked him about a career high in assists, he's never written anything bad about Russell Westbrook. I guarantee you. And Westbrook disrespected him too.
By saying they were executing?
By not giving him an answer to his question.
He did. He said they were executing. It was good execution. That's the answer. You don't have to. Because you didn't get the answer you wanted. You wanted Russell to be happy and be all jolly because he had a great game. Well, maybe he wasn't happy and jolly. You just assume because he played great, he should feel great. Well, maybe he still doesn't feel great.
Yeah, I'm kind of on that. I'm kind of on that bandwagon. Again, I think
people talk. If you're going to make them do something,
right?
Then however they're feeling at that particular time, that's what you're going to get.
Right.
If you didn't make him talk, then you wouldn't have got that response. Had you waited to the next day where he had some time to think about it, another day sits over, maybe you wouldn't get that reaction. But if you just see me and I read an article in the middle of the day, and then 5 hours later I'm looking at you, you're probably going to get that response from me. And unfortunately, those other guys probably did get the bleak of that, but he made his point.
Well, and here's the text that we get ad nauseum when we talk about this. Zach, they get paid millions of dollars. Answering questions is part of the job. If you don't like answering questions, then get your ass another job. And my response to that, and you tell me if you're on the same wavelength or not, my response to that is he did what he is contractually obligated to do, all right? And the media is also doing what they are supposed to do. And so here we are. So, I mean, I don't care how much you get paid. He did his job. Okay, Russell Westbrook did his job, as did the media, in asking the questions. So I call it a wash.
Yeah, I mean that you have to call it a wash. Not that I'm not saying what he did was right or that I would do that, but I also understand his side of it. So there's two sides of it. Is it disrespectful? Maybe, but I read some articles that are disrespectful. So it's give or take. It's however the person. So it's one of those things where he's never been like media friendly anyway.
Can I just say one thing? I disagree with you saying that Barry Trammell has written something disrespectful.
Well, I'm not going to say disrespectful, but that doesn't mean. Well, I know him, so he has written an article that was disrespectful. So I can, and plus he wouldn't write about you. He was writing about someone else.
Right.
So of course it's not disrespectful to you.
Right.
But it's not disrespectful to the person that it's about.
Did he ever write something disrespectful to you?
I'm not saying he read an article that was disrespectful at all, but I'm saying Russell didn't just wake up and say, I'm just not going to talk to the media. There's obviously something that has happened.
Right.
I mean, are we just going to say he just did that to do it when he's never done it before? So just because he maybe there was something that happened, it could have been. I'm just saying I would assume it was something that was written before or something with the media.
Yeah, and I guess
look at him and say he doesn't like him because he didn't tell anyone else that. So, and Barry Trammell normally does the articles like that. So I would just say it was something maybe he had written before or he heard said. Again, I always say this: athletes can be sensitive. It might not be right what Russell did, but regular people are sensitive all the time. But we don't discuss that. I mean, Russell's still just a person. He's the businessman next door to you. If you talk about him, he's not going to be happy, Zach. He's not making millions of dollars. So
I guess my deal is you have the opposite, and a media member comes after a player and disrespects them. That media member is gonna get torn to shreds by people. Oh, media member's trying to make a name for himself. So and the other part too, Joe, is
if you listen to this radio station, Russell Westbrook is torn to shreds all the time. So
to me, I think he should be for the way he acted the other night. Personally, that's my opinion, though. But here's the thing, Joe. We've talked about it for 30 minutes and not about them beating Golden State. To me, that's the biggest issue with the way he acted is we're not talking about the game against Golden State. So let me just move on to this. Well, let me move on to this because we're short on time, and we never talk about what happens Friday night anyway, right, Zach?
That's right. We shouldn't be, but we are. Yeah, here we are.
We're a little short on time, but I said this about Bedlam basketball, and tell me if you agree, Joe. In the NCAA tournament, it's a lot about matchups, and on paper and in person, quite frankly, OU is just a bad matchup for OSU. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so because they're just so much bigger. I mean, Oklahoma State depends a lot on LeBron Nash and their guards to do a lot of their things. And OU, they have a huge – I mean, they really don't have a guy to match Buddy Hield or Cousins. You know, Woodard, he played extremely well as well, but him and Dickey can cancel each other out. But Forte, he's going to have a hard time getting good shots off against those guys. They defend them pretty well. And then when OU added the addition of Thomas, you can kind of neutralize LeBron Nash. So LeBron Nash played a little better, and when OU had their run, Thomas wasn't even on the floor. But just if you go position by position, and maybe especially just matching man on man, Oklahoma probably has the advantage. Now, as we know, when you play the game, you can also do some things to kind of counter some of that. But yeah, when you look at it, Todd, that Oklahoma State they're not really a very good. When they see Oklahoma, it's not very good matchup for them. I agree with that for sure.
Hey, Thunder on the court, real quick. How much of what you've seen in the last two games is maybe Scott Brooks throwing up the white flag in this whole defense first mentality?
Well, I kind of said all along once. I mean, after we started hearing the trade rumors, that I was like getting Brook Lopez, and you're going to give up your defense. That you are when you got Deion Waiters. I thought that was more for offensive purposes than anything. And to win in the West, Golden State, you're gonna, even if you're a good defensive team in the West, you're gonna give up 100 points. So how much does defense really carry you like you would see in a normal thing? I mean, I know that's hard to believe and maybe hard to understand, but even, the best defensive team in the West, when they play in the playoffs, when they play those good Western Conference teams, you're going to give up points. So you got to be able to score. So if you're not going to be a good defensive team, you need to play with a whole lot of firepower. Yep. And I think we saw that the other night. But Golden State, they play extremely small. So that fits into Oklahoma City. When they added Waiters, they added another scorer and a guy that can match up better with those guys. So Golden State is not really a bad matchup for Oklahoma City. They can match up with them in a lot of different positions and actually neutralize them or better in a couple positions. So I'm not saying they could win a series, but they would definitely take it for a long time because Oklahoma City just matchup issues with those guys, the same as we were talking with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, because Kevin Durant can play at the 4 a lot more with Golden State than he can with some other.
How did JA Sports do this weekend on these NFL games? You did all right, or how did it go?
JA Sports, I was actually 2-0, buddy.
Were you really? Look at you.
That was easy. I know.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you.
Unfortunately, I was working this morning. Has Todd been on here? Todd, what happened? How disappointed are you? Are you okay?
If you follow Zach on Twitter, at Big Easy, you will get the daily complaint tweeted out to you later today.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to listen to – get on Twitter later. You got to listen when we post this online. Todd went
I think Zach will agree.
He went about 20 minutes ranting against
I think
the
Zach
Packers.
will agree that I was gracious in defeat, though, more gracious than he expected.
Were you disrespectful?
No, I was not disrespectful.
Hey, how about your boy trying to break off the play, trying to be a hero, huh? He was supposed to block and tried to catch the ball.
I know.
That was the Todd Lisenbee.
Have you guys seen Waterboy?
That's why you got to be hard on your teammates right there, Zach.
Have you guys seen Waterboy? You've seen Waterboy, yes, right, Joe?
Yes,
when they're in the Bourbon Bowl and the black kicker, he looks over and he sees the one guy and he goes, "No, that's my bitch." And he sees the guy that's cross-eyed and he kicks the ball at him. That was Brandon Bostic on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Joe.
All right, fellas. You guys have a good day.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. We'll see you.
You nuggets, buddy.
I know.
See you later, buddy.
See you guys later.
All right, man. Joe Adkins on the Little Caesars Hot and Ready Hotline.